And we are back on the Rodriguez Show, and we have a very special guest returning for the first time since October 2019. It's Weapons of Mass Creation. The kids are excited to see you guys.
What's up, kids?
We'll start with Silas, the youngest member of the group, saxophonist, vocalist, composer. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Yeah.
Hope y'all are doing just as good as me.
Jules, vocalist, MC, and writer. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah. Good to be back. Thank you.
And Solitude. How are you, man?
Chilling, bro. Posted. Yeah.
I was gonna flex if all you guys were here because I had written down, and last time I had you guys introduce yourselves, but I was like, this time I'm gonna introduce them all.
You can still do it if they're not here if you want.
Okay, so we'll shout out the other members: Luis, writer, guitarist, vocalist; Jacob, writer, bassist, and vocalist, MC; Grudo, producer, engineer, creative director; Mo Butta, drummer, producer, and MC. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
director.
And director. What's up?
Oh yeah, shout out to the Fools on Film 714. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fire, dude. I love that name.
Fools on Film.
That's fire, dude.
So we'll talk about that. They directed the All I Do video, and how was that release party you guys just had this past week?
Yeah, it was pretty intimate. It was kind of like our first introduction back into like the public.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Downest fans kind of came through. We had some merch. We had some BTS footage. We showed the video. Had a few minute like second party while the song was going on. We realized like people are pretty deprived of like live shows and live music.
Yeah.
So good vibes. It was like I said, a pretty short event. So but other than that, we had a great time. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It was the premiere of the All I Do video, which is the new single, which is out now on all streaming. You can get it anywhere, or you can just follow them on Instagram at WOMC714. And there's links to everything. The crew neck, which is sold out now. And yeah, man. So last time you were here was October 2019. A lot has happened in the world since 2019. We shut down shows for a year. We haven't seen each other in a while. What did you guys learn as a group by not performing for a year?
Go ahead.
Go.
Okay. So,
1, 2, 3.
we prepared some like I guess I practice a lot more discipline with like my creative process. So like writing even through like the writer's block and like lack of inspiration. I felt like if I was serious about kind of building a career around this thing, then I have to do it like a job, you know?
Yeah.
So kind of working through that, and then I mean there's a lot going on. So I feel like we were also kind of pulling inspiration from places and circumstances that we hadn't been a part of. So it was a very unique time to be creating art. And I think that like our song All I Do kind of reflects that because it's a slightly new produced sound that we haven't made previous. So yeah, I think that kind of like shows like a little bit of the growth that we had during the pandemic, and also just like, I don't know, the tough times too, you know, a lot was going on. So there's a lot to say.
Yeah, there was.
It kind of taught me that like I feel like I took for granted playing live shows. I never realized how much energy like I actually get back from the crowd.
Yeah.
And how it like, I don't know, it kind of just motivates you to keep on going because it's like, damn, I'm actually good, you know? Like other people think I'm good, not just me.
Yeah. Chasing that feeling.
And then also it just taught me to like almost like value my time because actually it was hard being just like indoor a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think for me it was definitely reconnecting with like the individual artistry, because it's like we're a group, so we have this synergy that we always have, right? But it's like all of us are putting different ingredients into this dish, and it's like, but what is my dish, right? Like, and over the course of the last 4 years, like I would kind of work on my own stuff, but most of the time I just had like really this tunnel vision, which was what it needed to be at the time, like this tunnel vision for what is this group like, and how do we make this sound for this group like peak. And so then being separated from that, it was like I had a little bit of anxiety because I almost had like an existential crisis of what is Josh's artistry, what is Solitude writing about. And then I reconnected with that, and I think also just thinking about like current events, like it was also really a time of, for me as a black man, it was really also like, whoa, like all these things are going on, and I was reconnected with why I wrote in the first place. Like the reasons I wrote in the first place was also always revolutionary music, right? Like my biggest inspirations are artists that spoke on the times, like Lena Simone says. So it was a mix of like reconnecting with myself, and then when I reconnect with myself, it's inextricable from my blackness. So when I reconnect with my blackness, I'm connecting with everything going on in the world, and I can like package that into writing, and just writing as much as I could, and like reconnecting with music as much as I could. So it was pretty wild.
Was there any particular music that you listened to during that time?
I listen to everything, but a lot of soul. I like a lot of how, because we've always kind of joked about, and I always joke like, Immortal Technique, he's a good rapper, great rapper, right? But it's like, how often are you going to throw Immortal Technique on in like a playlist when you're driving in the car with your homie? Like, you don't want to hear the angry rap shit, and it's cool, right? Like it's cool. It serves its purpose. He's a very angry anti-establishment, but it's like. But I could throw on Bob Marley, or I could throw on Marvin Gaye, I could throw on Nina Simone, I can throw on Johnny Hathaway, and all those I could throw on in any situation, and everyone will like it. And so like I listen to a lot of that to try to find that, like, what is it that they put in their music that makes it still soothing and moving,
like timeless.
and timeless, but it's like universal, right? And they're saying the same thing. There's literally like what's going on. I could play right now, and anyone would relate to it. Has had that experience, has seen like how black bodies are treated in the world. You throw what's going on in this playlist, and it's like, whoa, and it's timeless. So I was listening to a lot of like that type of music, and then I just always listen to rap. But it's interesting. I listen to rap, and I just kind of extrapolate. Like I take out whatever I like, and then I put it into my like how I write. So
wow. What about you? Did you discover any new music during this past year that you wouldn't normally?
I feel like I've been definitely during the pandemic. I've been listening to more like Afrobeat stuff and shit.
That's hard.
So,
that's sick.
Yeah, because that's something that just make me feel really good, and the beat is like very like up tempo. And usually I don't really listen to a lot of up tempo stuff. That's something I realized. I'm like a sad ass fool, fucking 80 beats per minute and lower.
It's like moving, dude. I listen to that too. It's really
But
cool.
that's why I have a mixture now. So
That's good.
That's
It's
good.
different sounds that you're discovering. So, like you said, there was a lot of changes in the world, but there was also changes within your own group. You added EQ, who's the newest member, your brother, right?
Yeah.
So what went into that decision?
It was pretty organic, honestly. He had always kind of been around anyways. We had also kind of been writing with him before the pandemic and during the pandemic in the same studio without there being like a verbal confirmation that he was part of our group. So like when it happened, it just didn't feel like it was like something new to us. He had already been participating, so it was just a matter of kind of introducing him to everybody else. So yeah, it was pretty organic. I feel like just kind of how Solitude was introduced into our group, it was the same way with him. I mean, really, just like we see that like we just vibe on a different level and have chemistry with people that are families. So yeah, it was like seamless, to be honest.
And I think this is also a credit to like Joe and Mo and the visions that they have at times, because they regularly like EQ's not the only person that's collaborated with us. There's also Haiku, there's Ja'Cory, and like all of us, like it's always like you fools are double MC. Like it's been something I've heard Joe say all the time, you know, and it's because like Double MC is a vision. It's not just like, oh, we're releasing a song. It's like a whole like
It's a collective
of different like just different artistries and that all have the same vision. And I think it was cool. Like for me, it's like I see my brother writing all the time, and I would see him like I'll go downstairs. This fool, I'll see like a little verse that he wrote, and but he's different than me. So it's like for him, he was very. I feel like he wanted to get to a level where he felt comfortable enough to bring things to us, you know. So he was writing for a long time. Like him and Moses like have little songs that they wrote when they were like freshmen, you know, like messing around, you know? And like so, and then I think my brother just kind of he knew how critical we are, so he's like, I can't go up to these dudes with like some like half-ass bars, you know. So like he kind of took his time and really perfected what he wanted for himself. So kind of what like the journey that we all went on during quarantine, he kind of did that before, where he was like, okay, this is who I am as an artist, and now I'm gonna present that to y'all.
Wow.
And so it was really easy to just like be like, fool, you're already rapping and like you're on all these songs. And then him and Moses had a project that they worked on that was like they were working on it before quarantine, and it was pretty much almost done, like 9 songs and stuff. So I think that synergy between them two really first inspired all of us too, because like that was a time when I wasn't as creative. I think I was you know, I was in my first long-term relationship. I was doing this. I was working, you know, and so I wasn't as like that free time that I had. Like a lot of times, I wasn't as creative. Like my spark wasn't there. And then I remember just getting to the studio after like a week of not being there because of whatever, and then these was are like, oh, check out this new song I just did, and I'm like, fuck, fool, my little brother's rapping, killing me on this. I would get so hyped. I would get like
made like 14 songs.
I would be like, damn, bro.
Narrowed it down.
But it's kind of like the same way when Silas first kind of joined our group. I feel like he kind of sparked like a fire under everybody's ass. Like, oh, this fool's like fresh meat. Like he's coming in with like a dynamic that we hadn't had before, and it just inspired us and kind of like pushed us to a new level. So the same thing with EQ. It was like super helpful. I felt like we were kind of in a rut, and he was kind of bringing a new fresh sound that really like revived what we wanted to be doing.
And both of them kind of came in at around the same time too, so it was like
it was back to back kind of.
it was like, damn, bro.
Yeah, because I think the last time Silas you had just joined,
Yeah,
or,
it was
like
the first time.
recently. Wow. Well, is there any other family members that are like on the outside looking in at you guys? Like, come on, let me have a shot too.
Fighting for the title. and shit.
Or do you have other like they're like your cousins or something? What do they think of like, oh, your entire family's like creating this?
I have personally a pretty strange like relationship with my outside family, like outside of my siblings. We just have very different worldviews, and like a lot of them aren't even artistic to begin with, or they are within like the context of like the church. So like it just, we don't really see eye to eye. So for the most part, them seeing from the outside in is just kind of like, oh yeah, you guys are doing that thing over there. Like they don't really even see like the work that we put into this and how serious we are about it. I mean, we have zero communication with them, so I don't think that they really understand that. And rarely have we had like any kind of conversation where they felt like inclined to ask, like, I want to be part of this, you know? So, which is fine with me. I'm very picky about, I'm very picky about who I work with, and I feel like I 100% vibe with my siblings. We have just like a dynamic and a connection that's just like no other. So I don't really need anybody else, to be honest. But little by little, we've had more than anything like homies, people that we've grown up with, that have been people that we know from in Anaheim. So like fools that I knew from like third grade, you know?
Oh, wow.
Also kind of doing music, and we're kind of discovering that they have similar interests. So in that way, I think we've been collaborating with people from the outside in. And I mean, people that are really down with us are there all the time, you know? So
that's right.
Yeah, definitely.
And you guys have created such a community, even just yourselves. And you're such a big family that like you have all these resources.
Yeah, we have more than enough.
Yeah, you're good. So let's talk a little bit more about All I Do, which is you said it's a different kind of sound. Did you go in creating that like mindset of like, I want to create something timeless, or is that where you went in thinking, or what was the intention behind going with All I Do?
I feel like it was mostly like pushed by Joe and Mo. Like they made the beat, and then it was like a week later that we heard it, and then I wouldn't say that we came in with the mentality that we were gonna make something timeless, but I think they might have come in with that mentality making the beat, because they try to do like I see how they get inspiration from like other music, and like they almost like fuse a lot of shit together, you know? So I feel like maybe in that way they definitely were coming in with that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, when these was creating music, it's less with the intention of like, oh, you know, like we're making a hit. For them, it's just kind of like their daily dose of medicine. They're gonna make the beat. They want to just create something, get it out, and if it's good, then it's good, and if it's not, on to the next one, you know. So I mean, they made that beat. I heard it like maybe 5 days later, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, send me this, please. And Moses at first was like, nah, this is my beat. I was like, all right, fine. You have that shit. And then eventually he's like, all right, I'll email it to you guys. And then it just kind of happened like overnight.
Wow. So how long did that song take to make?
It was besides the production, it was all in the same day. So I remember Jacob. So I remember how that was. I think Jacory, so one of the homies that sent, he was in the studio, and my brother was there, and I was there, and then Jules and Jacob had written his part a little bit, and he was messing around with it, and then Julia had written their part, so they were kind of workshopping together, and like me, EQ, and Jacory were kind of all just like, we always write, even if we're not gonna be on the song, you know. Like, it's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna write, and like they were. So at the time, it was like them two were more workshopping, and then they started recording. I wrote my part, and then I went outside, and I had recorded recorded a little bit of the beat, so I was just practicing it. I came back in, I was like, hey, fool, I have a little verse too. They had just finished recording their parts, And so then I recorded my part and was like, damn, that shit's dope. And there was actually another part that got cut that was Moses had added a part. So Mo Butter had an outro that once we put all the pieces together, it wasn't as like, it didn't fit as much. So he wanted to, it didn't fit as much, which I thought it was cool. But it was also intentional because he wanted to direct a video. And for him to direct the video, he had to be in it as little as possible. So he's like, he was willing to sacrifice his part on the song so that he could have a different type of artistic like expression and role in recording it. So, but yeah, we all recorded and wrote it around the same day. Yeah.
And I think like maybe a month or two before the release, we kind of came together just to workshop the small little details of it, and it was ready to go. So like literally no more than like 3-4 days, it was done. Yeah.
And then the video, which your brothers directed as well, right? So how did that come about? We're like, all right, we're gonna shoot the video next, like right away, or?
Yeah. Well, I think that since we knew that the pandemic was slowly kind of coming to, it's not even done yet. It's still going on, but things were gonna be opening up. We felt like, okay, it was time for us to start rolling things out. So we had a plan of just like releasing 3 singles, and we knew that when we released videos, it really gave us a lot of momentum, and we get a lot of love from people. So we're like, okay, if we're gonna release 3 singles, it needs to come with media. We can't just release singles into the void and like no one gives a fuck about them. So we had to kind of strengthen our releases with some media. So our last video, Neighborhood Watch, was directed and edited by my partner Luke, and he's very hands-on. For the most part, that video he did almost all the labor, and kind of out of the blue, Moses and Joe just started gaining like an interest in cinematography, and it really came out of nowhere. But they just bought like a 4K camera, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna start making videos."
6K.
Oh, 6K might be. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Even better.
That's a black magic, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they did that for the purpose of kind of like, okay, like if we're even just like for photo shoots, whatever, they're like, this is going to be a good investment. We need to get it. So once they got that camera, they started really kind of delving into like, okay, let's get more gear. We want to like really create like a team where we can produce our own videos and just be self-sustaining in that way. So Luke was definitely a supplement to all of that. As far as knowledge, like he gave us a foundation of like knowing what to get, where to start, just the groundwork for that. So having him there more as a supplement, and Mo and Joe really took on the role of like creating the treatment and then like creating the vision and like the wardrobe and like all of that stuff. So it kind of happened.
Fools on Film 714 just started because of this video.
No, so they actually done a video before this. So their first video was for the homie Ja'Cory, who I mentioned before. It's a song called 24, which are with the other person, Haiku. He's another homie who's pretty much, he helps. He's like, so the production team is Joseph, Moses, or Crudo, Mobata, and Haiku. So it's them 3 are always kind of producing together. And so Haiku produced the beat for Ja'Cory, and then they were talking like, and then that was the first foray into it, where like, so they filmed it with so we have an old VHS camera. So Joe had this idea to do the half VHS like old footage, and then we can shoot a little bit, start learning with the black magic. So then he shot that. And I think that once he saw that, how it came together, how simple it, like not simple, but how similar it was to edit video as it is to edit, like to mix and master music. Like it was like, oh, I could do this, you know?
It was very intuitive for him.
So then he just started, so he did that video, and then that kind of like spawned like the he's like, oh dude, like this was fun, like I can do this. And then it was definitely a big leap though, because that video was a little easier, because with the found footage there was less editing, less coloring, and all these different things. It was more like, okay, I kind of point and shoot and put it together. So then jumping from that to All I Do, it was a lot more like parts to it, and I think that's where Luke was really influential on like kind of helping hands-on with like the shift and like all the little minutia things that you need to work on.
But I mean, even with Luke, who's had the years of experience, those guys made an incredible video with that. It was so beautifully shot. It feels like they had years of experience themselves using
That's how I felt. I was like, where the fuck did y'all get this skill from?
For real, yeah.
I don't know what it was about like having my brothers actually shoot us. It just felt a little more organic in that way, because like we were just being creative in like a way that like it wasn't like tedious at all. Obviously it was tiring because we had to like move a lot of lights and
all
shit.
natural.
But I don't know, I feel like maybe it was because they had the vision, they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they were able to control that because they were the ones behind the camera, you know.
And
So
I mean, that's part of branding too. So like, obviously, we want to be in control of how we're being presented to the world.
Yeah.
So of course, they have ideas for that. So it felt like, just like he was saying, like, it's just very natural.
Yeah.
So I'm glad because we saved a lot of money.
Yeah, and then like, and like they're like, so it's funny. So like for example, the shots with the glass overhead where you can see the soles of our feet. They had that shot. That was before we even knew we were shooting All I Do. They had seen they wanted that shot. They're like, "Fool, I want to do that shot." And we actually had another song that around February was going to be the first single. So it was another song that we had planned, and they had kind of started a little bit of the treatment, but the only thing that they knew is they wanted that shot.
The shot,
like
of
the glass. From under. And and then we switched the song. All these different things changed, but they built that so. Luis is also very resourceful, and Lafu is literally an engineer. Like Lafu was literally an engineer, and he built the platform for the glass. And so we had the platform for the glass for like 2 months before we even actually had the video idea ready. So it was like a lot of things like that where it's like there was ideas that they knew they wanted in the video that once we got it all together, it was just really easy to and seamless to shoot. Because like that, they wanted that since literally like February, like January, they were talking about that glass undershot.
There's like a lot of factors to that video that like they just came off. They came up with off the whim, and like we were able to execute it very well. Just because like even though I feel like we're multifaceted, like we all have our little things that we're able to do. Like we even built a stage, and like what other band is just building a stage?
Wow.
And it's like we all put our hands in order to do that. So just like once we have the vision, then we just take initiative, and that's what I really like about creating. You know?
Well, All I Do is the single, the video. It's a great video. Check it out at WOMC714 is the Instagram. And before we get to the 60 seconds with, the last question I have for each of you is what are your goals, or what are you looking forward to most this summer? We'll start with you.
That's like on the spot.
Okay. So I'm gonna start HRT, and I feel like that's something that has been holding me back in a lot of ways, like just like my internal struggles. So
what does HRT mean?
Hormone replacement therapy. So I'm gonna start taking hormones.
Okay.
So I'm excited for that because I just feel like
he's a brand new man, baby.
that I haven't had in a lot of ways, you know. So I'm excited. I'm gonna get. It's gonna be a really big change, but I'm ready for it, you know. That's the first change I've ever been ready for. So
it's exciting.
That's what's up.
I'm excited.
Cool. For me, for sure, just being out in the sun more. I hope we get to do more shows. I mean, that's for sure. Like, just the energy of being able to be with a crowd is gonna be like so rewarding after not doing it for a year. And then just like consistently releasing content, because like after not releasing for a whole year, I just felt like we had to kind of start from scratch again, and I'm just ready to start like reaching new audiences. So yeah, just getting some new people to fuck with us. I'm ready for that.
Nice.
Yeah. So band wise, I'm excited. Yeah, to release new stuff, and like we have the 2 other singles. The second one's already done. The video's already shot.
Oh wow.
And then we're gonna work on the 3rd video and just doing more things like that, just content. And then for me, it's just like just reconnecting again with music now that I'm like in the world, right, and not letting the daily monotony of the world like slow me down and stuff. So it's like for me, it's just really just reconnecting with myself in now that the world is opening up, and still being creative, and still like just finding new inspiration and everything. So that's really it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys once again. Last thing, we did this last time. I have different questions for you guys now. It's 60 seconds. We'll start with you, Solitude, because I kind of put you on the spot. So we'll start over here. I'll have each of you guys. There's only 6 questions, and we have 60 seconds. So you have 10 seconds to each answer the question. Okay. All right. So we'll start with Solitude. You ready? All right. Favorite cartoon character?
Ash.
Jules.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, yeah,
Shit. Goofy.
Bart Simpson.
Netflix, Hulu, or HBO?
Netflix.
Hulu.
Wait, Netflix.
HBO. I fucked up.
Netflix.
We all fucked up.
Indica, sativa, or hybrid?
The Sun.
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
Jim Carrey or Will Ferrell?
Eddie Murphy.
Will Ferrell.
Jim Carrey.
Favorite non-hip-hop genre?
Oh, Soul.
Neo Soul, yeah.
Also.
And favorite thing about hip-hop?
It's perfect.
So many ways to express yourself.
The drums.
And that
The
was 60
drums.
seconds.
Okay.
With
Shit,
weapons
I
of
should have said the bass lines. What the fuck was I thinking?
All right, we're going to play All I Do by Weapons of Mass Creation. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
Feel free to come back anytime when the next one drops.
y'all.
Send it to us.
Yeah.
All right, Mondo, let's get
Definitely
it. We'll be back with more on The Rodriguez Show.